Earning more money is easy. Speak for yourself. What's up, everybody? I am Jaspreet Singh and welcome to the Minority Mindset. Earning more money is easy when you know the different ways you can earn more money. You learn the system, you put in the hard work, you make your mistakes, and then you know what to do with your money once you got it. That doesn't sound very easy, Jaspreet. I just put out a video on how to make more money, and if you have not seen it yet, here is a quick 10-second recap. 1. There's a difference between active money where you have to physically work and passive money where you just put your money to work. 2. Money rewards value more than hard work, so put your hard work into creating more value. And 3. When you're working to create your unique value, figure out the one thing that you want to do first and stay focused on that one thing. Today, I'm going to be talking about the different ways you can earn more money and have freedom, so make sure you watch this video until the end. But before I get into it, make sure you hit that thumbs up button below because it's like a virtual high five, and subscribe to the Minority Mindset YouTube channel. That way you don't miss any new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All the different ways you can make more money fall onto this chart right here, where on this axis you have freedom, and the higher up you go, the more freedom you get. And on this axis you have cost. The further right you go, the more this costs you to start. This is what I'm going to be filling out today because you need to understand this chart. This way you can set your life goals accordingly, because you don't want to put all your effort into something that's going to give you no freedom. That's what life is about. You want to make sure you have the freedom to do what you want to do. So let's start by talking about your job. Your job comes with some of the lowest freedom, and it can either be here or here on cost depending on what you do. So let me start by putting this in, J-O-B, J-O-B. So if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or some sort of professional, it's going to cost you a lot of money to start. I mean, it can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to become a lawyer or a doctor, or if you get a job with a lower entry level, it doesn't take a lot of money to start, but your freedom is very low because if you don't work, you don't get paid. Then after that, you have your physical services, which are your low cost, low freedom businesses that you can create. So I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to label it PS. This would be things like handyman work or auto detailing or mowing the lawn or event planning. You can make really good money with these physical services, but if you don't work, you don't get paid. This physical services area is where I started in entrepreneurship because I started by working in event planning when I was in high school, and then in college, I went out and then I started my own event planning company. It's great and it's an easy way to start because you don't need a ton of cash to start, but you have to keep working if you want to get paid. Then you have your thinking services that I'm going to label as TS. So this is still low cost to start, but it comes with more freedom than a physical service because thinking services would be things like consulting or freelancing or selling your expertise, something where now you're not physically working like mowing the lawn, you are using your knowledge and your expertise to grow another brand or something else. And so when you're consulting a company, you can be working at 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. or on a weekend, versus when you're event planning, you have to be at an event at a certain time, so you lose that freedom here, but you get a little bit more freedom here with the thinking service. The good thing about thinking services is the more you know or the more knowledge or the more expertise you have, the more money you can make. The downfall is this business revolves around your brain, so it can be hard to scale, which means it can be harder to get into this higher freedom area. Just above thinking services, we have what I call LCF, low cost flipping. So this is when you're flipping something that you don't actually own or buy. So this would be something like drop shipping on the internet or real estate wholesaling. With this low cost flipping, you have more flexibility with your timings, but you have to continue to make sure that you have leads coming into your business. If you're drop shipping, you need to make sure that you keep having customers coming onto your website, and with your wholesaling business, you need to make sure you keep having buyers and sellers coming in. This way you can keep making money. By the way, if you're unfamiliar with how real estate wholesaling works, I already made a video on it and I'll link it in the description below. With all three of these options, the physical services, the thinking services, and the low cost flipping, the goal is to take these things and move them higher with this higher freedom area. Because right now, when you start these things, you don't have a ton of freedom. Yeah, sure, you get more freedom here and here than here, but you still can't just go do whatever you want. Right now, these businesses revolve around you because if you don't work, you don't get paid. So in the beginning, what you're doing is just creating your own job. Hopefully, it's like you're creating your own high-paying job, but the ultimate goal is to take these businesses and move them out of a one-person or two-person operation and move them higher here on the freedom ladder. This way, you have the opportunity to do other things and have the freedom that you want. You don't really get that opportunity to move your job higher because with your job, it will always be that if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. So that's the advantage of having one of these. Moving right along to higher cost things, you have HCF. High cost flipping. My F got a little messed up, but high cost flipping is now where you're taking your money to buy something which now you're going to try to sell at a higher price. So one thing you can do is buy distressed real estate, fix it, and then try to flip it at a higher price. You need more money to actually buy real estate than you need to do low cost flipping, which is when you're wholesaling real estate. Or now you could be buying things from China, buying a bunch of inventory, and then trying to sell it on your own store. That takes more money than trying to do drop shipping because now you're actually buying the inventory and then you're going to try to sell it at a higher price. The advantage of this is that now because you own the inventory, you own the product, your profit margins are higher as well. Then after that, you have creating your own product. I'm going to put this right in the middle here with BIZ. Starting your own business by creating your own product. In the beginning, you will have absolutely no freedom. It can be high cost to start or low cost to start depending on what your product idea is. But the goal with, mark these so you can see them. The goal with this, and this is to move these things higher into the freedom ladder. That way you are moving beyond yourself. This way you can have the freedom that you want, but that's still not all. These are the businesses and services and things that give you low to medium freedom. But now on to everyone's favorite. The things that give you high freedom right off of the bat. And to begin, on the left, you have stocks. After stocks, what costs you a little bit more money will be, I'll call this private investing. I'll explain what that is in just a second. Private invest. And then after that, you have real estate. You can start investing in stocks with as little as $100. You take your $100 and you can go onto a stock brokerage and invest in your favorite company like McDonald's or Nike or Amazon or whatever. And now you become a partial owner of these companies. That way, if these companies make money, which you are not working for, you get paid. What I call private investing takes more money to start. This would be your angel investing or your venture capital investing. Think of like Shark Tank, where now you have money and you're going to private companies that are not listed on the stock market. This might be a local cafe or a local restaurant or a local startup in your area. And now you're going to these companies and you're going to give them money in exchange for some ownership, and you might provide them guidance or whatever. And now they're going to do the work to grow. And if they can grow, they might pay you $1,000 a month just because you gave them that money to grow their business. And then you have real estate. Real estate is where now you're owning properties like houses or apartments or offices that you're not living in yourself. You're buying this real estate so you can rent it out to other people, and in exchange for you giving them your property, they will pay you rent each and every month. You don't have to go to work to get this rent. They're going to live in the property and they're going to pay you every single month, whether you're on the beach in Bahamas or you're at work, because they are using your property. This part of the chart is where you want to be no matter what. But if you want to get the biggest returns, you need to have more money. Like, yeah, sure, you can invest in the stock market with $100, but the amount of freedom you're going to get with $100 really isn't anything, which is why you need to be doing one of these things and then taking the money you make from here, or here, and moving it up into the things that pay you with more freedom. Now, like I've been hinting at this entire video, the advantage of doing one of these things with the blue star is you can take one of these things, your physical services, your business, your high cost flipping, your thinking services, your low cost flipping, and if you do it correctly and you're able to scale, you can move these things into this part of the hemisphere right here. That way, now you own a business which is paying you where you are pretty hands off, and And now you can take the money that you're making here, because these things allow you to make more cash quicker than your job, especially if you're down here. And now you can take this extra money and use it to buy these things that pay you with more freedom. There's no right answer to what you should be doing. For some of you, a job is going to be the best thing to do because you hate the idea of managing employees and creating your own thing and dealing with all that stress. That's not for you. If that's the case, stick with your job. For some of you, you're going to love working with your hands. You hate the idea of sitting at a computer and working at a desk. And so maybe for you, working on cars or physically working on lawns is going to be better for you. So you got to know what you like and you got to figure out what you want to do. But regardless, you want to take the money you make from wherever it is here and then funnel it up here. The advantage of the stars is you have the opportunity to make a whole lot more money quicker, and you have the opportunity to move these things up into the freedom part of this chart. Now, in the beginning of this video, I talked about how you need to know how to use your money this way you can grow your money, and that's where education comes in handy, because you need to understand how to use your money. And unfortunately, most of us aren't taught how to do this in school. So we have a ton of videos on our channel that can help you with that, and we even have a free ebook on money management and investing that will help you with that. It is completely free, and you can read this ebook by clicking the link up here or by clicking the link in the description below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, share it with one friend. And if you don't want to miss any videos on entrepreneurship, business, and money every single week, then hit the subscribe button below and the little notification bell. That way YouTube actually lets you know when the new videos are released. And as always, keep hustling.